Welcome to SDH's coverage of everything going on in the NPSL Southeast Conference. We have now tipped the midpoint of the season, past match week number 6. We've got a month's worth of action to go before the playoffs and figuring out who's going to be chasing after a title in the NPSL out of the Southeast. Let's go backward before we go forward. Once again, officially in a no dilly, no dally zone, going over the matches from the previous match week. We'll get you ready for the upcoming activity coming up in just a little bit. It was over the past couple of weeks. You'd have some Sunday, you'd have some Saturday. This past week it was all on Saturday. 865 Alliance and Charlottetowne Hops. It was a 1-1 draw at Hardin Valley. And in the action so far this year, Nico Rivero is leading 865 with 4 goals on the season. Jean-Pierre Vital has a goal as well. Timothy Baker's got a goal, and that gets you into all of the activity that we've seen so far from 865 Alliance. And so it was a draw with these two squads, 1-1 draw, and Charlottetown gets a point. And so we end up with 865 slowly climbing the ladder once again here in the NPSL. Charlottetown pretty much doing the same. In this particular matchup, the goals on the board came from an own goal in the 32nd minute from Charlottetown, and it was an own goal in the 55th. So own goal had a brace in Charlottetown and 865 Alliance in the 1-1 draw. Apotheos and Georgia Storm, this one was at North Cobb Christian. Apotheos squeaks out a 1-0 win. The goal on the board comes from Nicholas Amoako, and that goal came in the 90th minute. So late goal, and Storm last until the 90th minute, but Apotheos puts one in the back of the net for the 1-0 win. And for Bruno Kalanji's folks, full points in that particular matchup. And then the surprise of the weekend. At McDonough High School, it was Appalachian FC and Georgia Revolution. It is the match of the week. Here's your highlights, and they're all on one side of the ledger, courtesy of our friends at the Georgia Revolution, the NPSL, and 11 Sports.
Great opportunity here. And it's a goal for Appalachian FC. Terrible mistake by Vegas. Costs Georgia Revolution. See if that shakes his confidence as this match goes on.
Goal, Appalachian FC.
That was Max Landau scoring the goal. Both of these teams have had Pagoda been a danger man so far for App FC. Now Lovett's going to take a throw. See if they go for the long throw in again. Soggy Hirsch special, as we say over here. And it's another goal for App FC. London Williams with the flick on. Total disaster for the Georgia Revolution.
Goal, Appalachian FC.
Seems the Revs are still reeling from letting those 2 goals in late last week against Apotheos. It is definitely showing tonight. Hamza makes it 3. Now that hill has gotten almost impossible to climb for the Revs now. Terrible mistakes, 2 terrible mistakes by Vegas on his Revs debut.
Goal, Appalachian FC.
Goal by Appalachian FC. Michael Eberle. Total disaster by the Georgia Revolution tonight. Guess it'd be time to know that the worst loss ever in Georgia Revolution history Bakota wide open on the top of the box. And he makes it 5-0. Disaster for the Georgia Revolution.
5 goals on the board by the time we were done, all of them going to App FC. And it was Max Landau in the 4th, London Williams in the 22nd off of the throw, Nabil Homsa from the spot in the 50th, and then 2 goals 3 minutes apart, Michael Eberle and Eli Bakota, 70th and 73rd, for 5 on the board for App FC, and that could help out down the line if goal difference was to become any kind of an issue. So 5-0, 5-0 win for App FC over Georgia Revolution at McDonough High School. So that sets up your standings in the conference after match week number 6. And in the Southeast, it's Apotheos on top after 6 matches, 4 wins, 2 draws, 14 points. App FC, 3-1-2, they're 3 points back. Georgia Revs at 3-3, 9 points. 865, 2-2-2 at 8 points. Hops right now at 1-3-2, they're at 5 points. Georgia Storm, 4 losses, 2 draws so far this season, and they are in 6th with 5 points. So that sets up our preview and our interviews to get us ready for match week number 7. We'll start things off with the side that gave up 5 and was in the match of the week. An uncharacteristic performance from Georgia Revolution. Here's their head coach, Jack Marchant, to talk about the week that was and getting ready for the weekend that will be. I know a lot of folks looked on the scoreboard and saw the end result. I'm just going to ask it this way. What happened?
On a day where everything could go wrong, it did as well. I mean, again, we talk about little things. The food truck that was supposed to be there, tire burst a mile from the stadium. Locker rooms were a disaster. The floodlights wouldn't turn on. And then we talk about on the field, it started from the first minute. And again, anything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was one of those cases where I think if we bought every raffle ticket, App probably still would have won it. So
then let me ask you this. With a game like this, do you learn from it or do you throw it away and just sit there and go, it happened, we're done, not even thinking about it?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I think we'll certainly look at our mental approach to the game, because I think that was it. And also how to deal with adversity. Again, when you take a step and look back, we gave ourselves 88 minutes to get back in the game. But instead of kind of learning from it and using it as a fresh start, we just crumbled. And one thing went bad to another. But also, I mentioned in my post-game stuff, I think it's an extremely uncharacteristic performance. Again, I've done this now for a season and a half, and we've never put in a performance like that. So we've kind of talked about it in training this week. It's certainly a one-off. We're going to count it as a one-off. We've like I said, we had a complete refresh and reset, and we go again. Hopefully, we use it as motivation now going into the last 4 games of the season, because as nice as it is, we still have a lot of stuff in our own hands that we can accomplish.
First step in that is a road trip to Hardin Valley to take on 865. How have they grown over the season, and what are you anticipating?
They're a very, very solid side. I think not much has changed for them since week 1, which is what you want as a coach for them. It's that continuity. Again, I guess not an advantage, but a similarity for us is they play on the same type of field we do. Again, it's a high school football field, so the surroundings shouldn't change too much. It's going to be Monday night at that place is going to be a different challenge that we have to present ourselves. But, we're up for the challenge. And again, I think we've got more motivation than ever. I've talked about it in previous weeks. Our goal going into the season from a staff standpoint is to try at least break even with everybody. And they beat us first time round. If we come back and pick up 3 points on Sunday, then we break even. We don't lose out on points to anybody, which is the goal. And for past results, we've got the ability to do that with everybody. If we can walk away in 10 games, having not lost points to anybody over the course of the season, we're going to put ourselves in a very strong position going into the playoffs.
Next up, the team that was on the other side of that ledger, App FC and Dale Parker. Dale Parker answers the questions about what went down and how he's learning from it and how he's heading into match week number 7. So if I told you after 90 minutes that you'd have 5 on the board and a win against the Revs, what would you have told me?
I thought we could go there and get a positive result. There were some things in their game that we felt we could take advantage of, but more importantly, we felt we were in a good rate of form, and that performance was probably coming. You can never expect to score 5 against anybody at home or away, but the fact that we did, it was nice. But there's a part of it that, we said we thought it might come the week before, and it didn't, and we passed it over to the Revs game. Now, there were some things that they did that didn't help them. But it was, on the night, I think everything sort of fell in our laps and went in our favour.
I was going to say, what do you learn about yourself in a game like that? I mean, I would imagine, you learn things in a 1-goal or a 2-game win or loss, but what do you learn about yourself when you win by 5?
It's a good question. They're not the easiest games to watch back and pick through, because obviously, you've won the game comfortably, but there were some periods, in particular at the end of the first half and at the end of the second half, after we made some changes, where we had to defend a lot of set pieces, and that's going to be good for us moving forward. Clean sheet, home or away in this league, is not easy, and the fact they were able to do that was a big positive, and credit to the Revs. They kept pounding the door, towards the end of the game. Even at 5-0, they won a lot of set pieces, a lot of throw-ins, a lot of corners that we had to deal with. So that was a positive for us. But I think what we did learn is that if we're ruthless and we take our chances, we can put teams away. We felt like we left some goals out there as well, which is a positive. And now we've got to take that into these next couple of games and hopefully put ourselves in a position where we can compete for number 1 spot, hopefully. If not, we would certainly want to be finishing in the top 2 to try and host that semi-final.
And you're getting that first step with hops. How much studying have you done, and how much of it is just already foreknowledge and you know what you're getting? And they're coming to Ted Mackerel, so how much studying has been involved this week?
Yeah, a lot of game film. They've had some strange ones. They've had a couple of unlucky results, I think, at times. I know they've not had the best of first years, but year 1 is always tough, and I think their performances have been right up there. They've been in most of the games that they played in. It's not like they've been blown away to come up and play us. But at the same time, we've got to take it as serious as every other game that we play. They're a difficult team. They've got some good attacking players, and we know 1 or 2 of them. And obviously they've signed a few more guys this week, so there's that unknown as well of what we're going to be up against. So most teams have a solid plan when they come up and put on ourselves over the next few weeks. I think the better. I think we've got the players to do some damage this year. We've just got to get it out of them and make sure we're doing as best we can as a coaching staff to provide that environment.
Getting into the schedule, App FC on Saturday is taking on Charlottetown Hops, and this one is at Ted Mackerel in Boone. We catch up with the first player ever signed by Charlottetown Hops, Captain Joe Pickering, and we get his perspective on everything that has gone on so far this season with Charlottetown Hops as they are building in the NPSL Southeast. Time to catch up with Captain Joe Pickering for the Hops. My first question for you is, how did you come about playing collegiately here on this side of the Atlantic, here in the colonies? How did this happen?
Younger, I had an American coach, and he was kind of talking to me about the American system, because in England there's either a good level of soccer or a good level of education. There's not kind of that balance that America has. So I kind of started looking into like places in America, just Googling these facilities. I was just completely blown away by the standard of these facilities. They're just incredible. So I went to Showcase Day, and I was lucky enough to kind of hit it off with one of the Tennessee coaches who liked me there from ETSU. And then, went from there, really. And ever since I've been out here, I've just loved it. Just loved every single moment out here.
What was it like playing for UNC's Final Four squad?
Yeah, that was an experience I never thought I'd get. I remember my friend was at UNC, and I was like, this place is it was just incredible. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this has got to be like the pinnacle of kind of American soccer in college. So then fast forwarding 4 years when going into my master's degree, and UNC have offered me a spot on the team, I'm like, I just couldn't believe it. So blown away when I got there. The standard was just incredible. Struggled a bit at the start to kind of get into the team. Coaches were fantastic. They kind of built me up. It was in that COVID year as well, so it was kind of an extended season, which kind of helped me kind of settle in a bit more, get to know the team, get to know the way they play. So then to go into that spring when we went on that run to the Final Four was And it's an experience I'd never forget. Like, I remember it was on TV back in England, like the American College Final Four, which was crazy. Unfortunately, we missed out on the Final Four. But yeah, like I said, it was an experience I'll never forget, and it was just a great time, and something I'll always appreciate.
How did you get plugged into Hops, and what was it like being their first signed player?
Yeah, so the Hops, I like in Charlotte, and I was missing the game, and I think I saw a social media post for a new NPSL team. I was like, oh, I wonder what that's about. So I kind of reached out to Matt Spear, who's one of the co-founders, and he kind of explained a little bit to me. I was like, I want to be a part of this. And then to be the first signed player in their history is a very proud moment, exciting moment. So yeah, it was a exciting time. And then I think we've.
So what's it been like to see this, the team mesh and building something from scratch? What's it been like to see the growth curve for this bunch?
Yeah, the NPSL or summer leagues in general can be pretty challenging. We have players coming from all over the country, playing different personalities. So at the start, it can be quite a mashup of players and personalities. So it can be really challenging. And obviously, you've got players coming in later. So the NPSL, I think, starts a week before the college spring season ends. So a lot of players are still doing exams in college. They can't come. So I remember the first week of training, we had about 8 players. So it's like, well, this is going to be tough. By the first game, we were just so it's definitely tough at the start, but you can see as these players are coming in, like the coaches have kind of handpicked these players from across the country. And you can see the coaches' knowledge of just come in. They've like picked players who they know are going to kind of fit well together. And as the season's kind of gone on, we've just gradually got better and better as you kind of get used to each other. You start to become friends. So it's been nice to kind of see the season progress, and I think now we're in a really good spot. I wish we had that 4 weeks ago when we had 8 players, but that's how the season works, unfortunately. So yeah, we're in a good spot now, and I'm enjoying it. The whole team, the coaches are great. So it's been nice to kind of see everyone mesh together and that kind of progression.
So what excites you about the progress of Hops as a club, as a brand, and as a part of the Charlotte soccer community, I guess?
Yeah, I think they've hit it at a good time because obviously Charlotte FC started last year, so I think they're starting to kind of build a lot of like soccer hype in the city. So they kind of to play on that was good, but I mean, what the founders have done in such a short space of time is pretty incredible. I think we didn't start the trials until February, March time. The club, no fan base, nothing like that. So I think what they've kind of done in such a short space is really great to see. They put a lot of attention and emphasis on the game day atmosphere, which I think a lot of summer clubs kind of forget about. But when you have that game day atmosphere, it just makes it so much more exciting to play as a player and a fan to come watch the games. So they've got some great food trucks there. They've got some good supporters group they're trying to build up now. It's really been great to see. And it'd be exciting to kind of see that progress next year when they've got more of a foundation. How they can build on that will be really interesting. But it's been a great atmosphere. The fans have been incredible every single game we've had. But it's been a really fun atmosphere to play in.
You've got App FC this week, and I think that it's probably turning into a bit of a rivalry of Charlotte versus Boone. What has Study Hall been like this week getting ready for this one?
Yeah, so traditionally they're probably one of the stronger teams in the conference. But I think we kind of know what we're going to expect from them as somewhat. And I think they probably have a similar idea for us as well. But kind of seeing the way we progressed, I feel pretty confident in this conference. We just got to kind of stick to our game, stick to our principles a bit more than we have been doing in the past. And then we feel like, we can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the conference.
The other Saturday matchup, Storm and Apotheos. That one is at the University of West Georgia once again at 7 o'clock. Sunday night, 7 o'clock is match number 3. Georgia Revolution on the road going to Hardin Valley to take on 865 Alliance. As always, we catch up with head coach Michael Meyer to get the lay of the land with 865. 6 matches in to their first ever season. Draw with Hops last time out. What'd you learn?
I think we actually played a good first and second half. I think second half probably when we brought in Lucas Nordin probably should have had 3 goals, missed a sitter. So I thought we played well. I thought we responded well from the previous match against App FC. A little unlucky. The goal that we gave up, I think it was more self-inflicted. It was on us. I don't think it was like created on the run of play. It was just getting caught in the midfield and then quick transition. We missed to clear it. So overall, I was happy with the performance. And it was, it's right in the middle of the pack. And like I've said before, this next upcoming game against Georgia Revolution is going to be tough. We played them our first match and we got a decent result at their place. So they're going to be looking to obviously, they're going to be motivated against us coming off their loss off of App FC.
I was going to say, Jack is on earlier in the show and he, we talked about it a little bit, and I asked him, I said, in a game like that, do you basically just sit there and chuck it? No tape, no nothing. It goes right in the wastebasket, or do you learn from it? And he says it's a combination of both. And with a team that's right there with you, I think the two of you, seriously, you look at the standings, Revs 3-3, 9 points, 9 goals, 4. You guys, after your first 6, 2-2-2, 8 goals against 7, 7 scored. So you have 2 very, very even sides that have had to kind of go about it different ways, a first-year club and the Revs being as established as you are. I think this has the makeup of being a very, very interesting game philosophically for a bunch of different reasons.
For sure. I think they have now, granted, they were missing one of their studs in the first match. I like their left winger. I think he did well. His name is mispronouncing it, Sharam. He was effective against us last time we played, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him. They have some tricky forwards. We're going to have to play our game and control the ball retention through the midfield. If we feed off of our last match and continue to just stick to the game plan, I think we'll be all right. We just have to, like I keep saying, defensively be very disciplined and patient. When we do win the ball, keep it, and then execute on set pieces. That was the one thing. Our set pieces last week probably was our best out of the entire year. I think we created opportunities, and obviously our one goal came off of a set piece from Isaac Garo to Josue Camacho. So we need to do more of that.
Last question for you. What's it been like to see things in a very, very young relationship with Hardin Valley? What's the response been like there with the fans getting to see home matches here and more as you come down the business end of the schedule?
I think it's been excellent. They've been great. The entire administration there has been very helpful. John Snyder did a good job, and Josh Gray, in regards to connecting us there. Ethan Collins is our on-field liaison. He kind of does all the prep work prior to the match and makes my life a lot easier. The crowds have been, I'd say, just right around 500 to 600 kids or players, or families. And then obviously the FC Alliance bringing out the ball boys, ball girls. I think the kids are loving it, are eating it up, and I think each time it will grow. But it's just getting them to know us and then creating that relationship, which is what we're trying to build.
So that's your rundown of everything that's going on in the NPSL Southeast. 3 matchups, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. If you're near Ted Mackerel, if you're near the University of West Georgia, or if you're near Hardin Valley Academy, take part in the experience that is the NPSL and the NPSL Southeast. If you are near an NPSL match, regardless of where you are geographically, be sure to take part and watch what's going on in the soccer summer here in the southeastern United States, or in the entire NPSL footprint for that matter. If you can't make it locally, follow along in your local providers. And if you can't make it locally, you're out of market and you still want to follow along on social media. Follow along at npsl.com. And you can also follow along here as we cover everything in the NPSL on a weekly basis. So for everyone here at SDH, that's your rundown of the NPSL Southeast. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the games. We'll catch up with you after match week number 7.